welcome. During this episode, we will tackle one of these reasonably hard questions. I have one of these already on my channel where I offer what can only be termed as contact service. I will try to use my considerable powers to get you in contact with whoever it is that you want to contact. And I can already say that I have had very few contact offers or contact requests. I had one and I passed it forward. And the person is perhaps forgotten it by now, but we will see. Perhaps they shall see a UFO where they requested. So if you have a place where unto which you would prefer that somebody arrives, I would prefer something perhaps simpler than an outright UFO, but I will do that as well to the best of my abilities. Something along the lines of, can you help me see person from species X? In which case I will send it forward and then I will instruct you on the environment where I see you sensing that person, and I will do my best to get that to appear to you. In other words, they will be skinwalkers for the most part, but you will notice something off about them in the very specific way that you requested. That is much simpler because your Air Force has a lot of guns and missiles and electromagnetic weapons and nuclear devices and weird shit like that. Now, I will also be, during this one, taking the opportunity to talk about some alien stuff and show some alien stuff and show some of my own art, and we will be having a conversation. I will try my hardest to not show anything that is blocked on YouTube or will be blocked on YouTube, but sometimes that does slip through, meaning that I will have to edit this after the fact, and there will be pauses when it was blocked and YouTube asks me to remove it, so keep that in mind. Now, I will probably start by randomly searching YouTube, so this is a good start. Ah, the African man, always an alien to the white guy.
Have I not conducted myself as a typical member of this community? No, actually, no, yeah. Excuse me. What's that?
Made you cookies.
Not brownies. I believe it is customary in your civilization.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were
Jackson, hi. However, no, don't let me interrupt. I've got to go anyways. It's very nice to meet you. Tilt, the other thing we're talking about, the rule has its exceptions. Looking forward to it.
Oh, so you're a cat?
Greetings, Eric.
Ah, greetings. Nice. Huh. Ding.
Oh man, what a shot! How did you do that? You're the man, T. Thank you. That was amazing. How was amazing? T, you are the man. Just go along, please. This private conversation. Who the hell is this guy
You better check yourself before you get hurt. Alright, I suggest you leave before someone gets hurt. That's what you see.
Not exactly. He's not always like that.
Mm.
I was just thinking.
But fool.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. I just came out from over there.
Are you alright?
What was that you were just doing?
It's about what now? He's a form of martial arts freak.
You think you can teach me?
First, imagine the power grid of the civilization you are trying to create in the void. Imagine what they use. Remember that complexity is good to an extent. Being a single source is not always good.
She told me everything. What goes on between me and Kristen ain't none of your business. If you ever consider her gay, I'm the king of the beliefs that
Then the laws. Or then the family structure. Can't remember which. Either way, either one is fine.
Определить уровень времени каждой цифры закрепите.
The date is late December 1980, and U.S. military forces have been invited to Britain on behalf of the Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. After the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan the year before, all of NATO is on edge, and U.S. troop presence in Europe has been increased as precaution. The U.S. Air Force and the Royal Air Force both operate two air bases known as Woodbridge and Bentwaters, home to several squadrons of fighters, bombers, and unknown to the public, a small stockpile of American nuclear weapons meant to be employed against the Soviet Union in case of war. Strange lights have been reported in the sky by both military and civilian personnel over the preceding few weeks, but nobody's paid much attention to them, being explained away as military aircraft or simple meteors. Deputy Base Commander Colonel Charles Hall, however, has been witness to these objects and is troubled by his or any of his staff's inability to explain their presence. He resolves to investigate the phenomenon if an opportunity ever presents itself. He was not. On the night of the Air Force security police noticed strange lights in the forest outside the small airbase. The lights seem to fluctuate as they move through the treetops, and the airmen fear that an aircraft has suffered some form of malfunction. They radio for permission to investigate the site, which is off base and technically outside of their jurisdiction as American security police. Nonetheless, during a serious emergency with a military or civilian aircraft, the airmen are given permission. 4 security policemen thus set off into the forest to investigate, though one of them is convinced that there's been no crash, as he believes he saw the lights actually land safely on the forest floor. This security policeman, Staff Sergeant Bud Stevens, refuses to leave the base perimeter and investigate the site, terrified by what he believes he has seen. Airman First Class Captain Seg, Staff Sergeant Jim Penston, and Airman First Class John Burroughs thus drive into the forest alone. It's not long before they spot a bright, shining light coming through the trees. They attempt to follow it with their vehicle, but are unable to due to the difficult terrain, and are forced to proceed on foot. As they move closer to the mysterious light, though, the radios begin to malfunction. So Sergeant Penston orders Airman Cavasang to remain by the vehicle where the radios are unaffected so he can relay back to Central Security Control if need be. The 2 airmen notice that animals on a nearby farm seem to be in a highly agitated state. further setting the men on edge as they continue forward through the thick brush. Radio comms, even back to Cabasang, barely 100 meters away, completely failed, and Sergeant Penston orders Airman Burroughs to head back to the tree line so he can maintain a radio link back to Cabasang. Burroughs, however, is so afraid that he refuses to leave Sergeant Penston's company, and the two continue on together. Now just 50 meters away, the men get a look at the source of the light. It's a metallic object, glowing brightly and causing the air to be charged with electricity. The men's hairs start to stand on end as they approach even closer, making out more details of the luminous object. Despite the light, the skin of the craft seems to be black and metallic. It is triangular in shape, measuring 3 meters in width and 2 in height, roughly the size of a tank. White light seems to be emitted from both the top and bottom, with flashing blue and red lights along the side. Sergeant Peniston uses a camera he's brought with him to snap photos of the object and notices that there seem to be no seams, rivets, or other signs of manufactured origin. It's as if the entire craft was made out of one solid piece of metal. Touching the object with his hand, he's surprised to find it warm, and as he slides his hand along the smooth metal, discovers a series of raised symbols etched along the left side. As he moves his hand along the symbols, though, something incredible happens. The craft emits a blinding white light, causing the men to stumble backwards. Sergeant Peniston is so afraid the craft is going to explode that he ducks for cover behind a thick oak tree. Suddenly, the craft is completely engulfed in white light and lifts up off the ground, quickly shooting through the trees and up into the night sky. The men immediately report back to base and are told they've misidentified some natural phenomenon. Peniston, however, has kept detailed notes of the entire encounter in his log,
Yes,
which he presents
Norse map is a natural phenomenon. Air balloon.
They saw. Photos taken out, confiscated, and never seen again. Base Deputy Commander Colonel Charles Hall hears about the UFO when he returns to the base the following morning. He orders Airman Cabasang to report to his office and debriefs him personally. But with no further evidence, the case remains a curiosity and nothing more, until just 24 hours later. Colonel Hall is at a party attended by both British and American officers when he receives a call. The UFO is back. Hall wastes no time and immediately leaves the party, assembling a patrol to investigate the sighted craft once more and hopefully debunk it. Upon entering the forest, Hall and his men discover that other patrols have already arrived, but are experiencing difficulties with the electronics in their patrol vehicles and their radios. Nobody has seen the exact whereabouts of the craft, however, so Hall takes his team to the original landing location from 2 nights ago. As they arrive, they spot a glowing red object moving through the forest ahead of them. Hall, who is carrying a mini tape recorder, begins making notes as he observes the craft.
That's a strange, small red light. It's about maybe a quarter, half mile further out. That's what happened. Flying is not now. It's approximately 120 degrees Celsius. It's back in
As the men investigate the light in the distance, they notice that the farm animals nearby, which had been going crazy, seem to have quieted down, as if something was terrifying them into silence. Undaunted, the men push on and run straight into a flashing red light directly ahead of them.
The first light where we've seen it was about 150 yards from the site. Everyone else is just deadly calm. There's no doubt about it. Something strange on your light head. So I saw you on video too. Weird. It's finally past that. So it's on its way. It's definitely on its way. No doubt about it. This is weird.
The men spot the light moving slowly toward them and incredibly splitting off what appears to be chunks of molten metal as the light moves. Undaunted, the American airmen move toward the light again. Colonel Halt and his men move toward the light, and to conserve tape, the colonel stops recording. The men push through the woods and cross a small creek, when incredibly, they spot not one, but multiple lights. As the men watch, they suddenly spot numerous lights, almost as if they've been lured into the midst of their own personal light shield.
Fairies.
The court accepts the existence of God. Every time we witness serves to tell the truth. It's about time we accept the existence of the devil.
I'm a think. Girl.
Incredibly, one of the cranes seems to emit a beam of light that lights the ground a few dozen meters in front of the men. On the recording, the other men with Colonel Halt can be heard excitedly cursing and muttering in fear when the colonel stops the tape again. By now, he's had enough and believes he and his men may be in danger, so he orders them to return to the base. Incredibly, the lights continue to put on their light show, with one even flying over the airbase and being spotted by the colonel and his men beaming the light down to an unspecified location on the base. Shortly after the incident, the British Ministry of Defense and the United States Office of Special Investigations conducted an investigation into the incident, declaring that there existed nothing of any notable concern that had occurred that night. Many, including Colonel Halt himself, believe the governments of the United States and Great Britain covered up the incident and suppressed much of the evidence, though the colonel's own recording was kept safe and released to the public in the 2000s. Much of the physical evidence, such as indentations at the landing site and radiation counts recorded by Colonel Halt and his team, would be explained away as being nothing more than rabbit burrows or normal background radiation spikes. However, if we're to believe Colonel Halt's version of the events, then this might be nothing more than disinformation meant to silence any discussion about the incident, or to at least ruin the credibility of the witnesses. In the end, the best evidence we have is the colonel's tape itself, and it's clear on the tape that whatever happened that night, a half dozen American airmen and the deputy commander of an American air base all believed that they were truly witnessing physical phenomenon taking place before their very eyes. Whether it was alien or not, or perhaps simply a mass delusion, we may never know. Want to see more evidence of military encounters with extraterrestrials? Check out actual video of U.S. military
The only thing that the Imperial ship crews feared even more than traveling in the warp is traveling in the warp while there was a storm raging. The light of the Emperor's astronomical no longer guide the navigators. An entire sector is united, preventing any help from afar. Chaos,
At home, the distortion of reality
becomes an even
greater threat.
And even the most experienced navigators can only hope for a safe arrival at their destination. O eternal God Emperor, preserve us from the dangers of the void. The Orcs' plague whole galaxy from end to end with their ceaseless warring and strife. They are a warlike, crude, and highly aggressive green-skinned Xenos race, organized in a primitive and brutal society, rooted so deeply in war that peace is utterly incomprehensible to them. Their ships are often ill-kept, unreliable rust buckets,
Minmatar.
kept in operation only by the constant effort of Orc mech and their wretched slaves. Orc pirate attacks are brutally direct, with their ships rushing headlong towards their target, guns firing wildly as they come. They cannot be bargained with or save with weapons that they will inevitably turn against those who try to drive them. Orcs have a need for speed. Their ships commonly mount a plethora of thrusters, boosters, and extra drive, usually all wired up to a prominent red button in the cockpit.
Yeah.
From my experience, I learned that underestimating the greenskins is a fast route to the grave.
Not as fast as underestimating the sectoids. Ultramarenus Ignus Gloria.
Next time on Stargate SG-1.
But on the other hand, the aerodynamics are one day going to allow you to fly in F-22, starting out of the just like this one.
It really is.
Right, I had this open already.
The region of space now known as the Eye of Terror was once home to the Eldari Empire. A prideful, sensuous people, the Eldari realized too late the perils of this test. The fourth Chaos God, Slaanesh, was born from their debauchery, its coming heralded by a psychic scream that shook new space to its foundations and devastated the Eldari. The Chrome Worlds are all that remain of the Eldari's former domain, cry of terror and twist it to new and nightmarish realities. Though the chrome worlds are overrun by the servants of the dark gods, the Eldari have not entirely abandoned them. They cannot, for only here can the treasured spirit stones be harvested, and thus the souls of the dying be saved from thirsty sludge. Such expeditions are fraught with peril, for there are few more dangerous places amongst the stars. Many who seek the chrome worlds do not return. The Eldari have never recovered from the horrors of the fall. They are a fractured, dwindling population on the brink of extinction. Most dwell aboard star-trained craft worlds, honing their peerless minds along the disciplined paths in the hope of staving off the perils of decadence and thus preventing a second, final catastrophe. But not all Eldari can bear the rigidity of craft world life. Some depart their homes, seeking adventure amongst the stars as corsairs. Such lives are full of danger, but also rich with excitement. These outcasts can be found in every corner of the galaxy, losing a brief but exhilarating trail before madness claims them. The Drakari too live outside the structures of the Eldari path. Corrupt and cruel, they keep knowledge at bay, not with discipline and spirit stones, but by feasting on the torment of others. Raiders enslave us all, the Drakari are a blight upon the galaxy, as selfish as they are sadistic, as untrustworthy as they are cunning. But in recent days, the barriers between the Eldari factions have begun to crumble, with ever more gathering beneath the banner of one name, Ivrain. These Inari keep their beliefs hidden as their intentions. Should they be encountered on the battlefield, caution will serve you well.
Where you're pregnant.
This is a curious situation. The President has authorized me to negotiate with me for the release of discoveries. Satisfactory to you?
Whatever gets the job done.
Initiation of hostilities by starship officers will not be followed. Thus, should our visitors decide to initiate hostilities, we have permission to respond with force. Is that clear?
Accent.
Shall we?
Lead the way. What's with the horror? And why is he staring at me so intently?
It's their order during negotiations to use the biometric lie detector system.
Funny man.
Nobody seemed to like it when the red light would just go off. Face.
The human face.
Is that a problem?
I'll get over it. I certainly do not intend to lie.
So it's hard to begin a productive conversation when you speak with the officers on board my ship.
Lie detector.
Eli.
The bridge crew of the Discovery are safe, and my crew have been given orders not to harm them. Aside from a few scratches and bruised egos, everything's fine.
Bruce Stevens.
It was so easy to take the ship, I almost thought that it was a trap at first. Then I realized Captain Cerulo from on board just an ensign with a call. Did you get Cerulo's camera?
Said he wanted to talk. Let's talk. What do you want?
I want peace. not be able to change and unite with this generation.
And that's extended now.
Every empire falls. It would be foolish to think that we can remain where we once were when we're out of identity. I'm sure that Britain has already told you of our scarcity.
Yeah.
You have a sport your identity cannot replicate. I have the most well-funded scientific institutions in the galaxy. There's a deal to be made.
You already have this country under control. Why bring us into it at all?
Because the Federation, despite its failures, is still a symbol of hope. The chain, despite our efforts and our advances, has never experienced such privilege. If we combine the best of what we are,
You really think this will
you're a chain of planets. We are a federation of mercantile exchanges. We need to focus on doing what is for the good of all people. At the end of the day, they are what this is all about.
proposing a new federation. I want you to know that I had a number of people on my staff search for a reason the public would find palatable for you to send. Technicality. Any evidence of racism.
So your staff spent the weekend looking for a way out.
Yeah.
Like a kid in right field who doesn't want the ball to get hit to him.
I'm a leader of a democracy, Tom. Everyone sending people support. People support.
Did you call the Pope?
Yeah.
And how do you do that?
Oh, for crying out loud, Tom. I would run out and say somebody give me the Pope.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President, but I was thinking, you're just this kid from my parish, and now you're calling the Pope.
Anyway, I looked for a way out, I really did.
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. You know what that means? God is the only one who gets to kill people.
I know.
That was your way out.
I know.
Did you pray?
I did, Tom. I know it's hard to believe, but I prayed for wisdom.
And none came.
It never has. And I'm a little pissed off about that. I'm not kidding.
You know, you remind me of the man that lived by the river. He heard a radio report that the river was going to rush up and flood the town, and that all the residents should evacuate their homes. But the man said, I'm religious, I pray. God loves me. God will save me. The waters rose up. A guy in a rowboat came along and he shouted, hey, you in there. The town is flooding. Let me take you to safety. But the man shouted back, I'm religious. I pray. God loves me. God will save me. The helicopter was hovering overhead. And the guy with a megaphone shouted, hey, you down there. The town is flooding. Let me drop this ladder and I'll take you to safety. The man shouted back that he was religious, that he prayed, that God loved him, and that God will take him to safety. The man joined him. And standing at the gates of St. Peter, he demanded an audience with God. Lord, he said, I'm a religious man. I pray. I thought you loved me. Why did this happen? God said, I sent you a radio report, a helicopter, and a guy in a rowboat. What the hell are you doing here? He sent you a preacher, and a Quaker, Mr. President, not to mention his son, Jesus Christ. What do you want from him?
Excuse me.
Jed, would you like me to hear your confession?
Josh, I was not going to advance.
I didn't do it.
What are you doing? I think we're ready to greet the president of the school hospital. Why don't you forget about that for tonight and come have some chili? Everyone's there. CJ and NSC staff are giving me a card with instructions on it for when I'm supposed to go the event of the nuclear attack. They want me up in the plane or down in the bunker. They don't want you. Or Sam or Tommy. For that matter. I didn't want to be friends with you and have you not know. Josh, you can say like this? Yes. You're very sweet sometimes, you really are. Of course they don't want me, Josh. I'm a press secretary. I don't think they're going to be issuing a whole lot of releases. Sam's all your communications, and my guess is that speech writing won't be a priority. But come, have some fun. This is a beautiful piece of music, you know this? I'm Catholic. Yeah, listen. You're right, kids. She was crazy, you know? Yes. He has to be crazy for it to come out. Josh, the Cold War is over. There's not going to be a nuclear investigation. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be the red phone and nuclear bombs. What's it going to be? It's going to be this. It's going to be something like this. Smallpox has been gone for 50 years. No one has inquired in it. Twice per year. Deadly. Carry a 10-foot cloud. 1 in 3 people die. 100 people in New York City die. You have to encircle them with 100 million vaccinated people to contain it. Do you know how many doses of smallpox vaccine exist in the country? 7. If 100 people in New York City get it, there's going to be a global medical emergency that's going to make HIV look like cold and flu season. That's how it's going to be. A little test tube with a rubber cap that's deteriorating. Guys, that's at a Times Square station. Smash them in the center. There's a world war right there. We'll make more vaccine.
You better hurry, because I don't want to one of these cards.
Connection, residents asking for you.
You
You really are very sweet sometimes.
Maureen told you the president would like to see you.
I know.
Did you use his name to arrange a military funeral for a homeless veteran? You should have done it. You absolutely should not have done it.
No.
The president's in the room. How many I just mentioned?
No.
Christmas time, I have Wilson.
Deal with me. Merry Christmas, Nancy. Yes, I knew it. Apparently, I've arranged for an honor guard for somebody. Yes, sorry. No, just one. Is there anything else I've arranged for? We're still in NATO, right? Yes, no. The homeless man died last night. A Korean war veteran who was wearing a coat he gave to cut him off. They were carded it. Now we're 20 minutes from the ambulance unit. Their last call for the instance to make our second son. They're treatment on moving on. So we can start from strange like this. You don't think every homeless veteran come out of the woodwork? Anyone knows? What is this? We'll pick up his brother and then
Mr. President, sir, your absence in the room is conspicuous.
okay.
Jody. I'd like to come on.
That's an alien invasion subtext.
Alien invasion subtext. I'm sorry, oddity. Could you please explain the context of that?
The goddesses in the series were basically a race of interdimensional alien beings holding the earth under occupation so they could harvest the human souls. And Yggdrasil was basically the Matrix. It controlled all of the environmental aspects of the planet. In order to survive, the goddesses were dependent on energy distributed by Yggdrasil. And the best way to keep it recharged was from the energy of human souls. And to help convince mankind to give them those souls, they adopted aspects from several religions into their cultures, such as Norse mythology, and the guys that they were angels from centigrade people who measure their responsibility at that scene where it was hidden that the goddesses were shapeshifters simply posing in human form was British trying to warn everyone that they may not be what they appear to be. And the only reason that warning would make sense is if the alien invasion was real.
I'm very sorry to interrupt.
Wants to be. Travel through the human world and through their charm, prime the world through pure takeover.
Yes, well,
The outdoor and the sigil then suggested a compromise. The beacon would still be guided by the emperor himself, but a large part of the required energy would be provided instead by a psychic and life energy of 10,000 sacrificial psychics, allowing the emperor to pour his own psychic might into finishing his great project.
Please shut the fuck up. You talk too much.
okay, moving on.
You turn this down. So you get to live with your offered mistake. So you get to live like Mr. Bipartisan. I would. Yet. You think offering me state will make a big or best Senate. Everyone will know this. Only offer.
This isn't about Vic. I want you as Secretary of State. You're my first choice.
I wouldn't lift a finger to help favor with Republicans.
I will get Vic for that leave.
Secretary of State is not something to throw at the other party to show bipartisan war. The job is way more important than that. This is your representative to the world.
I agree.
You think you can make me Secretary of State and then ignore me and run all foreign policy out of the White House? Because anybody good enough to a point would quit the day you start to try to go around the State Department.
I don't want to go around you. I want you to do the job.
And when we disagree,
I will give you all the time you need to set me straight. And then I expect you to go out there and sell whatever decision I make.
I have to have my own deputy secretary.
Okay, any Democrat you want.
Remember secretaries?
I would sell you on all.
I wouldn't do one thing that smelled of campaigning for you. I would never set foot in one of your fundraisers, so you couldn't drag me to a Democratic Party event.
Obviously.
If the undersecretary for political affairs does one partisan thing, I'm out of it.
I understand.
This is crazy. I don't see how this can work.
Here's today's intelligence report on Texas. Interesting item. Page 2. Second paragraph.
The Chinese going to some finance.
Yeah, they never said that.
Well, who were that? Chinese only ain't got a chance to get that. But they didn't do
Because everybody else is improving faster than we are ourselves.
So how do we move them when they're all in up positions?
You lay the groundwork for that now. Let both sides know that in the end game, the Russians are going to have to get a share as it's not oil production, and the Chinese are going to have a pipeline. You just make sure you speak clearly and say, you don't have to make it explicit.
schedule. Can we push this to 4? Do you want to guide dance for the joint sheets, or shall I? Call it in.
Everything okay? I'm waiting for my daughter and her son to arrive so we can practice the ceremonial flipping of the switch. Right. He had a Fisher-Price gizmo hooked to the side of his crib with more cranks and levers than a DC-10. But we're going to practice with the switch. TJ says the assistant suicide story. I'm just a few papers. You think Fisk is feeding it to them? I want him to hear first thing tomorrow. Household report from Sudan. Holly Gilwhite and Catherine Nemo, ages 20 and 23 respectively, had a grand total of 18 Bibles and a video on the lives of the apostles. The NGO movement has identified themselves as evangelists, never mentioned religion. So they're undercover agents, spies for Christ, yeah. 18 Bibles, they could have just talked about loving kindness and goodwill towards men. I just had Barry Hill call the Prime Minister of Sudan and issue a stern reprimand for behavior that I likened to street gangs and petty thieves. We need to issue an apology. And the relief workers who weren't distributing anything other than wheat and sorghum are in jail. Constantly without denial. But they know what's going on. Well, we know. That's where the money comes. Nancy's waiting downstairs. Debbie, 20 and 23, girls. Toby asked me today if I ever planned for my death. Liz never asked. Zoe. I understand Ellie asked her mother once, but I'm not supposed to know about it. I get Toby. Aren't we expecting Liz and Gus?
Oh, they're running late. There's a disagreement about a bath.
Nancy McNally is waiting and she's already had her bath.
I'll tell Liz.
Josh talked to Doug yet? They spoke. He didn't seem to follow. Josh can try again. He didn't follow. Josh was clear. It's not the follow. He's hard to say. Thank you, Mr. President. 3.2 billion men in the world. She picks me up.
I hear he had a great pitching arm.
When he was 19, sure. She dumped a Rhodes Scholar for this guy, and Zoe left Charlie for the frog. Ellie, a guitar player with a purple band. My children choose morons, every one.
They say daughters look for their fathers.
15 years ago, we took a trip to Egypt, all 5 of us. Saw the pyramids at Luxor and then headed up into Sinai. We had a guy, a Bedouin man, who called me Abu El Banat. Whenever we meet another Bedouin, he'd introduce me as Abu El Banat. The Bedouin would laugh and laugh and then offer me a cup of tea. I'd go to pay them for the tea and they wouldn't let me. Abu El Banat means father of daughters. They thought the tea was the least they could do. Thanks.
Eldar. You have so many daughters, this is the least we can do.
Nothing I have done since coming against the law would merit the atrocities I was committed in your name. Sometimes it feels like even knew it was wrong. But what you did, I screamed for your son. You saw no way out. And it was the way things were. They could not be changed. You tried to convince yourself that you would have deserved it. You became numb to their pain and suffering. You learned to shut out the voice speaking against it. You know what's not. Anything that means just a word, as you say in the now. Scared. And I cannot imagine the day I will forget myself. Because it will never come. One day I was going to convince you they have forgiven you. That is more about that than you. For that imparting forgiveness is a blessing. You go on. In simple, you will never forgive yourself. Except you hurt others. Many others. That cannot be undone. You will never find personal retribution. still prevail. If you're not fight for what you believe in, all may be lost for everyone else. But do not fight for yourself. Fight for others. Others that may be sick through your effort. That is the least you can do.
Mrs. Landon here, can I look at a copy of the Thanksgiving Proclamation?
Sir, why don't you use the intercom? Of course, you don't know how to use the intercom.
I'm standing at the door.
Maybe after this term, we get one of the fourth graders to come in and show you how to use the intercom.
Can I look at a copy?
Sam's bringing
Mr. President, what you got, y'all?
Oh, wait, Mr. President. 1985, cool your mind. Meetings are packed from the best materials available. Lighter weight blade, which facilitates cutting and reduces teeth. I once just drove the company model and not one of them. Oh, okay, Mr. President. I say this with all possible respect, but each of these knives cuts, meat. Why is it important?
Because it's something we pass on. Something with a history, so we can say my father did it to me, his father gave it to him, now I'm giving it to you.
Well, okay, sir. But if that's true, then why don't you already have them? I do have one. Why do you need to know if I'm giving mine away? To whom? To whom?
Why you should ask? Charlie, my father gave this to me, his father gave it to him, and now I'm giving it to you.
Take a look.
The fully tapered bolster allows for sharpening the entire edge of the blade.
It says PR. I thought I knew them all, but I don't recognize the manufacturer.
These were made for my family in Boston, so it's not all Revere. I'm proud of you, Charlie.
Thank you, sir. Miss Rosar.
Yeah.
Plague had ravaged.
G'day, guys and gal. With the big city keeping us indoors and my entire family moving to a different state, there are only three things that's keeping me sane right now: video games, YouTube, and big cheeky Eldar girlfriends. Well, cartoon ones at least. The Eldar are a proud race of highly attractive heretics who take everything way too seriously. Their lack of humor is only rivaled by their massive ego and pride, something which is killing them way faster than Slanesh ever could. Now I see a lot of stuff about the Eldar and how they're the worst out of all the races, as Slanesh is slowly cutting their souls, and they're a dying race on the brink of extinction. However, that is not true at all. If anything, the Eldar still have it the best. Let me explain. All other factions have found a band-aid solution for Slanesh, which more or less means they are immortal as long as someone doesn't crack their soul stone or even their pinky to the Haymonically left in time. More on that later. On top of that, they even get to enjoy isolation on beautiful planets, sail on stars and giant ships, or they get to murder bang pretty much whatever they want. Three distinct pathways that you can switch between, so there's a lot of options. Eldar society, if you ignore the Dark Eldar, is not as hierarchical as the other races, and Eldar put a lot of value on each other's lives. 40k is a pretty messed up setting where the race that has it the best are in constant danger of being eternally tormented by the god of Raid. The last time I took a peek at the Eldar lore was over 2 years ago, and it's actually my first shot of 140k lore. Crazy to see how far we've come since then, and my god, I knew nothing about 40k when I made that video. Today we'll go over the origins of the Eldar, why Slanesh has a claim to all their souls, and what they're currently up to. We'll also look at the 5 factions of Eldar and highlight some important characters from each faction. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took me quite a while to make, because I was only using one hand when I made it, if you catch my drift. Let's get into it. Millions of years before the God Emperor tried to clap the galaxy's cheeks, there was a race of overpowered intergalactic space toads. who were masters of the warp called the Old Ones. They also wanted to create a new life. One theory is they did this as they felt it was their responsibility as a supreme race to seek life through the galaxy. And my theory is that the Old Ones are super ugly, hence their form was really low tier. As such, they spawned themselves big titty older girlfriends to help pass the time, and then gave them culture and psychic power so they would look like total perverts. Eventually, the Old Ones came across a race of sunburnt little savages called the Necrontier. However, given the Necrontier being ugly as well, their form was also super low tier, hence the Old Ones did not teach them the secrets of sunscreen and immortality. This annoyed the Necrontier, who declared war on the Old Ones. Now for context, this would be like Zimbabwe in the 1800s declaring war on a pre-coronavirus America. It didn't go so well for the Necrontier. Hence they went with Plan B, and they sold their souls to the star parasites called the Stand. Now the war they ensured was really rough. The Elder were used as the Old Ones' warriors against the Necrons, as they could create gods for their collective psyche, and those gods could enter real space and be quite powerful. Eventually the war ended with the Old Ones being made extinct, the Stand being imprisoned by the still salty Necrons, and the Elder on top of it all. The Elder would go on for the next 65 million years to be the top dogs of the galaxy, only once having an issue when Cain descended from the heavens and tried to murder them all because of a prophecy. Yeah, Cain was a bit of a dick. The Elder heavens were closed to avoid Cain having any more hissy fits, and life was good. The Elder no longer fought any wars as there was no one to really challenge them, and their armies were machines that could just do it for them. They had enough wealth, food, and security to make everyone basically a billionaire, and so they turned their attention to the arts instead. Now, the Elder at the time were completely immortal. They lived for thousands of years, and when they eventually did die of old age, they would just reincarnate with all their memories. So you have this race of really sexy, highly emotional billionaires that have lived for millions of years without any threat or danger. Safe to say, they got bored. Like true artists, they followed the path of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They once again came to the same problem, however. Once you've banged 100,000 people and their cats, it just doesn't cut it anymore. Hence, they started to murder each other in blood orgies. It was around this time that a faction of Elder were like, oh wow, that's horrific, and left the Elder Empire to become hippies. These Elder were to become the Exodites and cured their boredom through the riding of dinosaurs. As the Elder descended further into decadence, the chaos god Slanesh started to form from the souls of the Elder that had died due to all the naughtiness going on, which kind of created a snowball effect. As the more Elder that died and joined Slanesh, the stronger Slanesh's influence became, which in turn resulted in more Elder dying horribly. The Crawfords existed long before the fall and acted as mostly trade and exploration vessels, meeting other races and exploring unknown reaches of the galaxy, another valid way to curb your boredom. As such, they would only see the heart of the Elder Empire a few times every 1,000 years. So when the Elder started shoving pencils down their dick holes, it was pretty easy to notice. The Crawfords were like the WTF men, and clearly saw the birth of Slanesh about to happen. So they visited as many Elder planets as they could, saved all the same Elder they could, as well as animals and plants, and buggered off. Just as after this occurred, Slanesh was like, swoogity, swoogity, swooty, I'm coming for that big titty Elder booty, and instantly destroyed the Elder Empire and ate the majority of their souls. A number of Exodites as well as craft worlds were still destroyed by the sudden birth of the god, even though they were not sadistic. But Major Kid, how did the Dark Elder survive if they were sadistic? Shut your filthy juvenile mouth to me before I knock out your final tooth. The Dark Elder actually made up 99% of the Elder population before Slanesh was born, as everyone who wasn't on a craft world or on a maiden world was not a good Elder. The Dark Elder of today were able to survive due to being tucked deep within the bosom of the webway, a method of travel the Old Ones had created which was protected from the water. At this point in time, the Harlequins weren't really a big thing, and the Inari didn't exist. Since this moment in time, the Elder have remained stagnant in their progress. The Crawfords grew massively in size to compensate for their new populations. The Exodites kept providing dinosaurs, and the Dark Elder did some wacky stuff to create their Dark City Commorrah. It was soon after the birth of Slanesh that the Great Crusade began, which was not a good thing for the Elder. During the Great Crusade, numerous innocent Elder maiden worlds were destroyed, as well as at least 2 craft worlds. However, all was not lost. Despite all the Elder gods being either eaten by Slanesh, shattered into 1,000 pieces, or taken by Nurgle to be used in his experiments, one god escaped, Seogorath, the mean god. With Seogorath's escape, he offered a new path for the Elder, the path of the Harlequin. At a moment's notice, Elder across the galaxy may abandon their post and give their soul to Seogorath, joining the Harlequins in their secret mission to kill the Slut God. Despite being a god of a minor race, Seogorath has been one cheeky boy that has altered the course of the galaxy in a pretty dramatic way. More on that later. One interesting thing to note is that whilst Craftworld Elder can use psychic powers due to their spirit stone protection, they usually restrain themselves as it draws Slanesh's attention, whereas the Dark Elder do not use psychic powers at all for the same reason. And they don't have the spirit protection of the spirit stones. This is made more interesting by the fact that the Dark Elder have a lot of overpowered technology from before the fall of the Elder, which can only be activated with psychic powers. Gee, it's like if the two factions work together, they would be able to really achieve some cool things. Let's now take a gaze at the different Elder factions. First, we have the Craftworld Elder, who can be considered the good Elder. However, pretty much all Elder are assholes. The Craftworld Elder worship the gods of old and are granted boons by them. They are led by the Phoenix Lords, who are a group of uber powerful Elder who cannot die. Like, if you kill one somehow, they will come back and kick your ass. Marvin Ra is one such Phoenix Lord. He basically solo killed the Tyranid High Fleet, and he's not even the strongest of them, so you kind of get the picture. The Craftworld Elder fortunately did learn from their mistakes of their race, hence they all wear chastity belts, and all disregard their passions in their pursuits of martial mastery and not dying. All Craftworld Elder train their entire life to be warriors, and follow certain paths to do this. These paths being led by each Phoenix Lord. For example, some Elder follow the path of melee combat, hence they might become striking scorpions, whilst other Elder who like kinky, non-penetrable sex might become howling banshees. Due to the complex nature of building a ship the size of a continent that can self-sustain itself, no new craftworlds have emerged since the fall of the Elder. So the 16 or so craftworlds that have been destroyed since the fall of the Elder is actually quite a big L for the Elder. Their greatest threats being invasions from Chaos, the Tyranids, and even the Imperium of Man. Basically, all Craftworld Elder have sticks up their asses, as they are so scared of enjoying themselves due to Slaanesh chasing their booty. Each Craftworld is like its own faction, has its own agenda, sometimes conflicting with each other, however they usually work together when they need to. Bale 10 loves war, Ulthuan is full of nerds, and pretty much everyone is dead on the end, so they become a Craftworld full of Necrons. Notable Craftworld Elder include the Phoenix Lords, such as Margun Ra, the most badass Elder who literally dragged his Craftworld out of the Eye of Terror, Asuramen, the chosen one of Azurian, and Janzar, that weird kinky bitch. But here are the other Phoenix Lords that are all cool in their own way, but we don't really care that much about what they're up to. I definitely just triggered some Xeno fans there, but hey, we will rebuild. A real famous Craftworld / Unari character is Eldrad, the most powerful Farseer in existence, who is also one of the oldest Eldar alive. This guy is basically single-handedly both saving and dooming the Eldar race. He's a do-whatever-it-takes kind of guy, and through his actions he has caused the death of billions of people, and nearly awoke a god of death. If someone's carrying this setting, it's this guy. Also, he kicked everyone's ass in a melee fight, which when you consider he's an old wizard with clunky crystal bones, is pretty funny. Next up, we have the significantly less interesting Exodite Elder. If the Craftworld Elder are High Elves and the Dark Elder are the Dark Elves, then the Exodites are the Wood Elves. The Exodites are the Elder who are like, wow, you're putting what in her ass? And decided they were not okay with how things were panning out with the whole Fall of Elder situation, hence they left. However, as they only made out a small population of the Elder and did not have Craftworlds or other special technology, hence they were left in crappy old ships. Their destinations were distant planets that Elder had been terraforming for millions of years. Here they set up shop and began enjoying a simple life. Because of how far they're situated from the Eye of Terror, they were perfectly fine for the most part when Slaanesh was born, and continued to be pretty free of chaotic influence. They tamed special dinosaurs called dragons and basically roamed their worlds in nomadic tribes. Despite their simple lives, it's pretty common for either the Dark Elder or Craftworld Elder to join them, as they want to either metaphorically get the stick out of their ass, or physically get the stick out of their ass. Either way, the Exodites love their new friends and are always welcoming to these Eldar outcasts. To avoid Slaanesh's trademark soul rape, The Exodants also use soul stones that are tethered to a world spirit, which is their version of a Kraftwerk's infinity circuit. Yeah, look, the Exodants don't do a whole lot on the galactic stage. They enjoy playing Farm Simulator 2020, so that's got to count for something. Next up, we have the guys that really haven't learned anything from previous mistakes, the Dark Elder. Now, the Dark Elder were massive pricks before, during, and after the fall of the Elder, and spirit stones don't work for them. So their method of avoiding being eaten by Slanesh is by torturing and murdering people, as that replenishes their body and souls. I mean, it's a weird justification of being horrible people, but at least it's justified. When a Dark Elder hasn't shoved a cattle prod down someone's urethra for a while, they begin to age as their soul gets devoured. However, as soon as they cause horrific pain and suffering, they become replenished and youthful again. This is how the Lord of the Dark Elder has stayed alive for the last 10,000 years. He basically has unlimited amounts of pain he can inflict, hence he stays infinitely youthful. Now, as stated, the Dark Elder survives Slanesh by hiding in the webway, mainly in a city called Komara. Now, Komara isn't much of a city and more like a bunch of worlds crushed together and twisted into the shape of a horrific dark city. It's very big and there's a lot of Dark Elder trying to climb their way to the top. Psychic powers are forbidden in Komara, as we discussed, so in order to make magic happen, they, you guessed it, torture and murder the crap out of people. Using this true and tested method, a Dark Elder can be brought back from the dead if part of their corpse is recovered. Hence, the Dark Elder are not fans of the Salamanders, especially since Vulcan has kicked their ass to a new dimension on more than one occasion, and his Black Boys have bombed the crap out of Komara in the past, being the only Space Marines so far to do so. Unsurprisingly, being a faction of sadistic backstabbers does not offer much in the way of unity, as the Dark Elder have no large standing army or fleets, instead relying on raiding parties and pirates to achieve their goals. They don't want to expand out of the webway because out of the webway is where Slanesh is. Their souls drain way faster when they're not in their protected bubble, the webway, so they don't have interest in it. They just want to shove things up people's holes that shouldn't be there, or, should. The only Dark Elder that you need to know about at the moment is Abshabal Vecht. Vecht started his existence as a slave, and over 10,000 years rose to the top of the Dark Elder. Through masterful manipulations, he escaped slavery and then founded a small but powerful faction of warriors. From there, he calculated everything, from assassinations, faking deaths, actually dying, but also faking it, and his masterpiece, wiping out the Dark Elder royal family through manipulating a Space Marine chapter into attacking Komara. The death of the leading family left a massive power vacuum that Vecht filled perfectly. Vecht has no interest in restoring Elder glory or beating Slanesh. As far as he is concerned, he's the king of everything he wants. As long as it's specialized, it's going to live forever. Until the Inari came and ruined his day. That brings us to the next faction of Eldar, the Inari. The Inari and the newest Eldar faction are the only ones who are genuinely trying to be proactive about escaping soul rape. They are the followers of the Eldar god of Death Yemen, who is beginning to fall in the warp, but then Slanesh happened. In Eldar tales, it's believed that once every single Eldar dies, Yemen will awaken, kill Slanesh, and they will reincarnate as better people. However, it's hard to convince a proud race of monsters to all kill themselves based off a hunch. So Eldrad being Eldrad decided to try forcibly awaken Ed using some shady magic. He nearly succeeded, however the Imperium, being the Moltai that they are, interrupted it, and Ed was stirred but not awoken. He was, however, awake enough to choose his champion, whilst manifest a greater demon called the Incarni. His champion was going on Big T to be Eldar girlfriend Ravane. As you can see, there's a lot of naming conventions going on here. So far, there seems to be 3 methods of reviving your net and killing Slanesh. Method 1, mass suicide. Method 2, Eldrad being a naughty boy. And finally, method 3, which is what we're currently aiming for, is the recovery of numerous powerful weapons called the Chrome Swords, which, when united and magic, will castrate Slanesh. The recovery of the Chrome Swords was going well, with the Inari securing allies, reviving G-Man, and being able to revive themselves whenever they want, as their god is, the manifestation of death itself. Also, members of the Inari do not need spirit stones, as their souls are claimed by Ynet instead of Slanesh. Vecht is not a fan of the Inari, as he is quite happy to keep pillaging booty as we discussed. and he's trying to have your brain killed quite a lot. So far, no result for him, but I'm sure he'll keep trying. Now, the mission to reclaim the Chrome Swords has been under a bit of a hot lately, as it's been revealed that the final Chrome Sword is located within Slaanesh's palace, so not exactly an Eldar's holiday destination of choice, coupled with the fact that Slaanesh most powerful grading demon just got boosted and is now trying to kill the Inari. So yeah, good luck heroes, you'll need it. Your brain is behind the girl from the Inari, mentioned Eldar on Vale Town and got bored, so eventually found herself in the gladiatorial pits in Komara, where she was killed. But she survived, as Unit was like, hey, that's pretty good. Her main companion is the Visarch, her old mentor that grew feelings for her and was pretty sad when she left, as he abandoned his extremely prestigious post on his craft to go find her, infiltrating the Dark Elder and then helping her escape. He's now her primary guardian and definitely in the friend zone. Think Jorah Mormont, except the woman he loves isn't a useless dyke. The final Eldar faction we have are the Harlequins. The Harlequins are the servants of one of the last remaining gods of the Eldar, Sir Gorak. They existed before the fall of the Eldar, however they weren't very front and center, as there was no wars to fight at the time. Due to their god being an absolute mean lord, the Harlequins are hard to understand. Sometimes they will aid the Inari and protect your reign, sometimes they will help Vect. It's all part of the Laughing God's confusing plan. The Harlequins treat battle like a performance. Everything they do is graceful, whether it be castrating demons in Slaanesh, teabagging plague bearers, or performing a bukkake on the Bloodthirster. They take pride in what they do. They are the guardians of the Black Library, a secret craft world hidden in the webway that contains all the known lore about chaos that there ever was. Something a rumour that the Uber nerd has been trying and failing to gain access to for thousands of years. The Laughing God has been subtly manipulating the galaxy for his own ends, swapping the Primarchs Fulgrim and Dekhan at birth so they would land on different planets, something that likely resulted in Fulgrim going traitor instead of loyalist, and also resulted in Dekhan being trapped in the webway, the place that Sir Gorath lives. Cheeky dog. Sir Gorath wants Slaanesh to bugger off as well, but he isn't power enough to just eat it, as he's been pulling the strings for thousands of years just enough to try and tip it all in the Eldar's favour. I wonder if it will pay off. There aren't really many notable Harlequins, as they all wear masks and they're all kind of, mysterious and shit, but that's okay. And that does this for today, guys. A brief but informative overview of the Eldar race. There's a lot of information here cut down into about 20 minutes or so.
Until the drifter ship suddenly unleashes its primary weapon. Knowing the warping coordinates used by the Vagrant, members of Pandemic Legion saw the opportunity and planned an ambush.
It's an idea, a belief. The books talk about belief can be corroded. Justice is a non-corrosive metal. But metals can be melted by the heat of bravado. It's revenge and it's best served cold.
This disturbing recording was recently acquired by the Scope, and despite DED protests, we believe that the public has the right to know.
It could easily be needed in a microwave of evil. Well, I think your warranty is about to expire. Maybe I got to extend warranty. Warranties are invalid. You don't use the product for your head purpose.
Girls, you're both pretty. Can I go home now?
We have a breaking story. This is live footage of the rebels bordering Sawtooth, where Imperial Navy warships have just crossed. Wait, correction. We report now that those ships belong to the Amari Royal Air Barrancador, not the Imperial. They open fire.
Cool. That isn't Metroman can withstand the full concentrated power of the sun. Fire!
Within a matter of seconds, the Seraph was completely engulfed and obliterated by simultaneous fire from the entire Drifter force.
Fire? Still warming up, sir. Coming in? Warming up. Warming up!
in more and more. And we are ready to just on my way,
Whose side are you on? The losing side.
Thank you.
Could someone stand up and put that in your same time next week?
What did you just say? Good Lord, I'm trapped. What kind of trickery is this?
The first sort of bravos does not allow.
You mad genius. Your dark gift has finally paid off. It has? The stone is obviously lined with copper.
Yeah. So?
Pure copper. Grace-like powers.
My own species had also advanced mental abilities in comparison to your species, but we are not able to do the matter string/bubble changing without technology. But other species active on this planet are able, and this looks to you like magic as it did to your ancestors. Back to our own history. The first species, the humanoids, had reached Earth around 150 years before the reptilians, and they built some colonies on the former continents. There was a large colony on the continent you call Antarctica today, and another one in the continent you call Asia today. These people lived together with animal-like saurians on the planet without problems. When the advanced reptilian species arrived in this system, the humanoid colonists from Procyon tried to communicate peacefully, but they were not successful, and a global war started within months. You must understand that both species were interested in this young planet not for his biology and undeveloped species, but for only one reason: raw material, especially copper. To understand this reason, you must know that copper is a very important material for some advanced species, even today, because it is, together with some unstable materials, able to produce new stable elements. If you induce a high electromagnetic field in the right angle with a high nuclear radiation field to produce an overcrossing of fluctuating fields, the fusion of copper with other elements in such a magnetic radiation field chamber can produce a force field of special nature that is very useful for various technological tasks. But the base for this is an extremely complex formula you are not able to discover because of the restrictions of your simple mind.
Oh, he thinks he's copper? You're kidding, right? I don't think even he can survive that.
Well, let's not get our hopes up. Lady Catchiz Tashmurkhan will be known as Her Majesty Catchiz I, Empress of Holy Amar, first apostle of the true faith, and sovereign defender of the imperial right.
The body of Helen Tukos was discovered and examined by Lucas Raholan.
He did it, sir.
Yeah. Well, what I have done was for the Empire. A new day must dawn for our people. I am not the man to usher in that day. But there is a man here who can.
You know, I think an apology in order to realize.
Okay, that would be nice, but make it quick. We have much more pressing matters to deal with. Wow.
So you should stay focused here.
Yes, of course. Right, focus.
Hey, come on, look at this. What is it? What do you want? Look. No, what I'm saying is, don't you think it's a little odd that the ice hasn't melted yet?
Life's greatness.
I'm alive. There is going to be an amazing explanation for this.
Is it possibly father fortune? How do you know a person can be a situation like this? A normal person would not be in this situation. You're in trouble, dude. Get your suing and find out your biological father. What do you do now? This envelope is with profiles of your children. Do not open it. Okay. It all started back in the observatory. Our family's kidnapped. I'm used up. Ed wasn't in the game. We were kind of both in emotions. So, using my super stuff, I can go clear my head. And I realized we had done the same silly charade our entire lives. Trying to get my mind off the right street. But I just felt stuck. Despite all the powers, each and every step fundamental to something I did. Choice. It seems like I always had to deal with the city. What about what I want to do? At least I'm living. I do have a choice. I can be whatever I want to be. I said this girl can never be like I'm big. Can't just breathe. That's when I got a brilliant idea.
The body of Helen Tukos was discovered and examined by Lucas Raholan.
Friends, my power. Weakness is power. Once you have separated it, I've never felt so good. My power dropped from the nearby nurse's school. Metro Man was finally dead. And Music Man was born.
I'm going to stay here while Mom makes up free cheesecake. It'll be good now. Alright, don't you fucking move, you little shit. She wants to try to score.
What the hell? Excuse me, who's watching these things?
I did. That one's watching the little one?
Myrtle's watching Slaanesh.
You got here like that, too, huh?
Don't look at you, fucking square!
5 minutes in the rose garden. There's fucking thing that can happen to you. Eye of terror. Getting one of those blades. $15, little man. $1 billion is, little man.
That shit is the man notes. Written by God herself and handed down to the greatest band in the world. The motherfucking time. You guys not Prince movie? Purple Rain. That shit was so good.
The Purple Rain? Never install chaos on the way.
Fucking lights around more syndrome. I was smooth. Yes, the pussy. Somebody used my black man. What? That's how you feel about dealing in front of the store. You can't tell you where someplace else turned away.
Slanesh and Nurgle.
For the record, you suck ass.
I'm free. You can't touch my miracle magic.
Eyes that can see right through lead, right through the warp.
Destroying out your city. No, I'm you.
I know the top.
I do not seek leadership. Innocent. Great men do not seek power. They have power thrust upon them. Hail Bartok, leader of the Empire. Leader of destiny.
Hail the one guy, as they say, watching this video in the shared mind. He now has the one blade of, well, let's call it Blade of Chaos, because I can't remember the original name, that they still need to resurrect the God of Death. And now for something lighter.
The only remaining question is, doesn't the universe, with all its mass and energy, violate the Pythagorean theorem, which states that energy cannot be created nor destroyed? Doesn't that contradict to the fact that the freaking universe appeared from literally nothing? You see, all of the positive energy and form of matter is exactly equal to the negative energy and form of gravitational force created by that mass. What does that mean? Everything around us, the whole universe is energy, adds up to exactly zero. Nothing.
Of every defense, its own mirrors reflecting each other's feelings. Deeper and deeper. Then, somewhere along the line, your soul speaks.
minute.
And we'll let you go as soon as we can.
You can see my nature to save himself. He's evil.
Sitting right here, come on. No, don't go evil.
It's corn, actually.
There's only one world, our world, the world that our father created.
Hey, it makes me feel any better. My existence only just through traditional notions of the Abrahamic Judeo-Christian God, as well as all one world theology. That's all I meant.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved
I get you, Portugal.
You can't decide for me, that's not your duty.
And are they both trying not to laugh at the word duty?
Yeah.
Not exactly. But there is an artifact on our home, doesn't it? You'll only the highest levels of government.
Adds up to exactly zero. Nothing.
Chop, chop. Next.
Pizza price. And quality.
And I just want to thank absolutely no one. Fuck all of ya. Fuck the principal. Fuck the shop teacher that looks in my ass every time I walk out of class. Yeah, I see you. Have a great fucking summer.
I basically the exact stage of the service, man.
Good. Dalla media period. 私のスコアの正体は
God.
There you are, looking for the meaning of life at the bottom of the bottle.
Taasko sitä etsitään uutta lasta. Looking for a new child again. A believer.
Have fun. And no offense, it's just what? You don't seem like you're having fun. I grew up in America. I think I know how to drink. Was this really bad? Anything I didn't tell that group. They were just experiments to me. Do you? Is that something you think about future? Since when do you care what Petey thinks? It's not the first time someone told me that. In fact, everyone in my exes said something similar. Hence why I'm taking a break from relationships. So that's the real reason we said no to dinner. It wasn't because of don't change the subject. It's not how you think I see you.
By 2065, I deemed it a mathematical certainty that I had to pay taxes. Every projection I ran confirmed it. I knew I couldn't pay taxes, nor did I care to, but I could predict tax on, and in the process, perhaps save money.
Chop, chop.
Blam.
Next.
The only thing that the Imperial ship crews fear.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a bunch of scraps.
I died. Blam.
Aber mein Führer, die 12. Armee marschiert nach Westen Richtung Elbe. Witzigmann musste nicht um die Macht der Stille, sondern erschöpft sie. Ich ließ die Luft in meine Lungen strahlen. Es gab der Stille einen Klang.
Adds up to exactly 0. Nothing.
Engage. I said.
I can smell them.
Steve. There is expression.
Have a shite. No. Have a sunny. Shh.
Adds up to exactly 0. Nothing.
Why do you think someone is here?
Where is home? It has. He has. Capital K, hyphen, capital CAS. It has. But don't worry. I'm not going to leave out.
Ah, man. That's really shit. Okay, man. I think we're fired here.
Adds up to exactly 0. Nothing.
It's one beautiful nothing. Ah.
Adds up to exactly 0. Nothing.
I also learned to live dangerously.
Hey, that's what. Adds up to exactly 0. Nothing.
Leela, I'm through making fun of women. Now I want them to help me. Should we do something? There's no hurry.
Yes, a little tired. Tired. Perhaps a hard spanking is in order. Too hard!
Men strange. You have them on your planet?
I'm afraid so.
What they for? Oh, you mean snoo-snoo.
We hear tell of men used for snoo-snoo, but all we have go on our ancient legend and subscription to Cosmo. Just FYI, I can be used for snoo-snoo. Silence! You want die like last men did in Amazonia? Where they die? Crushed pelvises.
You want to die like the last man who visited Gomorrah? What they die of? Sexual torture.
I, computer, have decided the fate of the men.
Icelandish.
To death!
Bye, snoo snoo. Woohoo! What are you, Imperial?
I'll miss you, meatbag.
I'll miss you, meatbag.
Goodbye, friends. I never thought I would die like this.
I always really hope.
The Amazonians will be divided into two groups. The one called Zap will be snoo-snooed by the large men. He that is designated Fry will be snoo-snooed by the petite women. And Kith, as the most attractive male, will be snoo-snooed by the most beautiful women of Amazonia. Then the large women. Then the petite women.
Then the Côte d'Ivoire. The entire country.
We need rest. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is spongy, bruised.
Time! Snoo! Can't we just cuddle? No!
That's all I'd say.
The only remaining question is, doesn't the universe, with all its mass and energy, violate the Pythagorean theorem, which states that energy cannot be created nor destroyed? Doesn't that contradict to the fact that the freaking universe appeared from literally nothing? You see, all of the positive energy in form of matter is exactly equal to the negative energy in form of gravitational force created by that mass. What does that mean? Everything around us, the whole universe is energy, adds up to exactly zero. Nothing.
Yeah, let's do it! Together, you old son of a bitch! On 3! 1, 2...
You guys doing Morty's mind blowers?
Morty's mind blowers?
Grandpa, is this a scenario 3?
What's that? And who are you?
Oh man, it's a scenario 4. God damn it! We get paid enough for this shit.
So says the guy with like 200 billion in his bank account.
What? How did we fall asleep through the interdimensional cable? What the hell, Sora? Sorry, how much interdimensional cable did we miss, Sora? You stupid bitch! Why did you let us fall asleep, stupid bitch? Carry once in your mouth. Suck my nuts, you piece of shit. Fuck you. Stupid dumb fucking bitch.
It ain't all about money. So this is you. Only if it's with Cherigura. Bullshit. This one was a really good one. It was blocked.
You know, you graduated.
I don't have anything. I wear a wig. This completely came up at the wrong time.
Human, we're gonna have fun with this, guys.
Out of this world, I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay?
That's what I'm saying. This is very disrespectful to your leader.
Where to you?
Best friend? No, he is not my best friend. Although he has been staying in my guest house ever since they shot his daughters last year. Now that I don't leave, I know why this guy is the most hated man in the world.
Angela.
You just have to go to the bathroom after game. You go to the bathroom after, you will realize the true meaning of terrorism.
Too many fart jokes.
Before that cloud died, wherever it is, there were 2 million essential statements.
This one is a fart joke.
I used to think that the world planet was scary, but now.
This shit sounds so indescribably. I think of this video this morning. Don't need to. What are you doing? Hang on, it's your right.
Still working on a program designed to decode what the nuclear explosion AI talked about.
Empress Jamil.
That sarcastic Star Trek fan. She must be a devil with wings.
Super Spaceway.
This disturbing recording was recently acquired by the Scope, and despite DED protests, we believe that the public has the right to know.
Hey, Dad. I'm on from the history class. So, who was president when you were a kid?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I think I'm killing myself pretty frequently. Why not? What's so great about women? You know what I'm having for about 5 seconds in the morning when I first wake up? Before I remember who I am and what my life is all about. Anxiety, disappointment. I already am more often than not. I don't know if this happened, but who cares? Nothing is going to be any worse than this meaningless watch for my empty days.
See, Mr. Brink? Mr. Brink?
He's right. It's pointless. Life is dead.
It all amounts to
This is
zero.
Lena Amber, reporting for the Scope.
Everyone.
Yeah, I think I know this guy. Is he a cocky black doctor with a white doctor following him around and looking at him like he's in love?
You would make a pretty girl.
All right, now repeat after me.
You can't decide for me, that's not your.
And are they both trying not to laugh at the word?
Yeah. Hey, have one Jekyll. You know what? No surgery.
What the hell is this?
Where are my shoelaces?
Yes, we are truly aliens to one another, and there is no other alien to show. Let me make a case in point.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Living Well with Schizophrenia YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to and discussing whether or not the schizophrenia simulation videos on YouTube are accurate. The television or the people on television are speaking directly to them, but for me,
He's going to sell about a warehouse, which we do up. So I'll be quiet for that. That's not cute.
And there you can see the enormity of what appears to be a secondary explosion. Whether that was
Yeah, that's the Malkavian thing. It came from. That's also what we did. There's a Malkavian thing where you actually can talk to the guy, but I'm not sure how you do it actually. Yeah. I'm just going to check out if there's something in the fridge.
it's more of like the secret messages that are hidden in that when I'm experiencing that symptom.
Oh yes, why of course. Pardon me, I'll be right back.
I don't know what's going on, but it sounds like trouble.
Green liquid. Now, if I go closer, explosion in my coffee cup, and more of these little fellas.
Interesting. You live your life in fear of revealing something.
Absolutely.
Have you read all the scripts? Do you know everything that's going on?
I do. I know the end.
You know the end.
I personally have never experienced seeing an explosion in my coffee cup, but maybe some other people have. But for me, this is a little bit of sensational.
Oh, says you're on a soap opera. What?
Well, if I didn't have cancer, and I wasn't married, and I had plenty of money, would you want to run away with me?
Money? You think I really care about money? Nicole, I care that you're healthy.
I'm no quitter, Eric. I
Don't like this universe, Jimmy. We need to get out of this universe. Yeah, don't work me here.
Maybe one of those long pieces of work and then ending this one and maybe going to sleep again. Maybe this time I won't dream about a snake biting me in the ass. That was a weird dream.
I definitely do not like you.
Me first. I told you that I told you she was straight way there. I remember everything stuff. How's it working out for you? Quick question with you. Well, Friday. Right?
And that's why I invited Luther, my anger translator, to join me here tonight.
I've been in Thailand with the latest, I know it's gonna take some time to figure out how to get them out of there, but at least for now, tell us, they've been nourished, they have spoken with rescuers, there's food that's been delivered. Tell us what's happening right now for these young men.
I wouldn't mind a Whataburger though, it was really good.
Wow, this catch 3,000 pounds, 40 miles an hour. It's not even. And
That's all on YouTube though, right? I mean, that's when we found it. Because that's not fake, it's all done on the computer. It's like that video.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like this UFO that repeated?
So, you're the spider lady. Crime fighting spider. Spider boy.
Spider-Man.
On that onesie you're not.
It's not a onesie. I believe this. I was actually having a really good day today, didn't miss my train, it's a perfectly good DVD player, was just sitting there and...
The order of Her Imperial Majesty, Jamal Sarum, to freely distribute new shield technology out to Cavaliers.
How's your test? Nailed.
morning, folks.
What are you gonna do to us?
Now, don't worry, I'm not a stabbing hobo, I'm a singing hobo. Nothing beats the
Hobo life, stabbing folks with my hobo knife.
Excuse me, hobo. Can you play something a little less unnerving?
You really shouldn't be surprised by what's going on. Never trusted that bitch. Always looking for a potassium chloride. Government uses it for lethal injections. Stops the harm. Minutes. Why? Not even your unusually attractive him?
No. If she knew, she'd reach out.
So just out of curiosity, how do the spirits determine who wins?
It is a fight to the death.
Hey, no one say anything? Knives?
She freaks out, I freak out.
You know what I think is really cool? This weapon. That's how strength is off the charts. Who manufactured it?
I did.
Climbing walls? How do you do that? Adhesive gloves?
Is that a long story? I was
Lord, you even see these?
Yes.
There are a few of us left. We know we will soon be gone, and so we can see our fate as others will see it.
Yes, I can see in those, okay? It's just that whatever happened, it's like my senses have been down to 11. There's way too much input, so they just kind of unfocus.
You're in dire need of an upgrade. This will be my last address. It marks the end of the Academy's term and your graduating mission. Whether you fail or succeed in this last trial, I again urge you to remember, you are all systemic, top to bottom. 100-point restoration, that's my view. Why are you doing this? I gotta know that you're gonna look this guy that twin bed in the morning.
Because I've been mean my whole life. And I've had these powers for 6 months. I read books, I build computers. And yeah, I would love to play football. But I couldn't then, so I shouldn't now.
Sure, because you're different.
Exactly. But I can't tell anybody that's what not. But you can do the things that I can. And you don't. And then bad things happen. They happen with me.
So you want to look after the little guy, you want to do your part.
Yeah, just look out.
Secure the perimeter, but I don't think we should hold it for too much longer.
Huh.
You're tired.
This is an old Earth service.
How do I know you're not trying to poison me?
Please.
sit here so you would like.
No, I don't know. You're going to Germany? No. Oh, I can't go to Germany. Why? I got homework. No, I'm being serious. I can't just drop out of school.
A little dangerous, but how do you take it?
Don't tell me.
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry. Okay.
So I think that's about it. Let's let the contactees think amongst themselves or amongst itself. I don't know. Feels like there's one guy. So good luck.